the 1995 Honda Civic EG8 sedan. So you're thinking about buying one. Let's take a little dive into it and see if it's the right Honda for you. Back in the late 80s, Honda had a steady foothold in the US market and a good thing going with its EF Civic and CRX. So Honda was looking to capitalize on the strong momentum by releasing the 5th generation Civic, and well, they nailed it. The 5th gen Civic debuted in Japan on September 9th of 91 and ended production in August of 95. For 95, Honda produced a total of 289,435 Civics. The 5th gen platform came with many different powertrain options, ranging from the tiny 1.3-liter D13 B2 to the rev-happy and almighty B16 A2. Now this particular one is mine. I daily it every day. It comes with the D15 B7, rated at 102 horsepower and 98 foot-pounds of torque. A real rocket, I know. But that was never the purpose with the D15. Where it lacks in power, it makes up in fuel economy. Now I still have the original window sticker, and MPG is rated at 34 city, 40 highway. And even with it having 234,000 miles on it, that is every bit correct. Matter of fact, I took it on a road trip up to the Carolinas a while back, and if my calculations are correct, I got up 42 MPG on one leg of the trip. And when it's mated to a 5-speed manual, it's actually a pretty enjoyable car to drive. A very forgiving first car to learn manual on. The clutch is light and has good catch point feedback. The shifter feels just right so you're not missing a gear when you're going into it. Solid car to learn manual. Now my model is the DX, and it is about bare bones as it gets. I'm honestly surprised it has power steering and AC. But what do you expect for a sticker price of $11,980 in 1995? The entire purpose of this car was economy, from the MPG to reliability and repairs. This was and still is a low buck car. I mean, just look at these tiny tires. I can hold them in the palm of my hand, and I have what is considered a normal size hand. Now back to the engine, because it deserves way more credit than I have given it. I have every right to believe this engine has over 234,000 miles on it, and it does not smoke or burn oil. But that's the beauty of the D15. Sure, you don't get VTEC, but it doesn't make enough power to hurt itself. Take care of it and it could be a million-mile motor, no doubt. But I know what you guys are all thinking. Bobby, that's good and all. I mean, I just want more power. I want to go fast. And to that I say, so why do you want a Honda? I'm just kidding. But if you want to build an EG Civic, look no further than the EG Sedan. Yes, I said sedan specifically. If you search on Marketplace for coupes and hatchbacks, you'll find someone's headache of a project car for $4,000 or more. And a clean, untouched example of those, $6,000 and up. Now, if you do find a clean, untouched sedan, they usually range around $2,000 to $4,000. I bought mine for $2,500. And here's a little secret. The sedans are lighter. Lighter than the coupes anyway. The hatchbacks are still the lightest ones. And the beauty with the EG is that it shares a lot of specs with the sister car, the Integra. So swaps for the main part are pretty much bolt-on. Matter of fact, I have an entire brake upgrade from an Integra that we're probably going to get to this channel, who knows, sometime. The common B swaps are nice and easy. And if you want to go the K route, VTEC Academy did one in a hatch for $3,500, which is not too shabby for the 160 wheel horsepower it put down. But if there's anything that is a must-have upgrade on this car, it is definitely the wheels and tires. The car has great handling characteristics and is super light, but they're very limited to what the tires can do. A set of LS Webbs or EM1 SI wheels with some sticky rubber on it will complement that car so well. Okay, doing a startup. It's not really a cold start, been driving it for a while, but it's just what to expect when you get yourself an EG. Walk on in. Everything in this is base model. I'm surprised it has power steering and AC. Could have been the package. I think this is a DX. There's stickers covering it, and I'm reluctant to pull them off. But you can expect stuff like that. Normal wear and tear. But I mean, I had two EKs, and the interior never held up this good. Soft touch. The EKs, I had to rebuild the door panel because if anyone knows the coupes, they just fall apart, and you have to refiberglass them. All still soft touch from 95. Like period correct radio, which I still use because it works pretty damn good. I just use the one of those cheap interfaces for Bluetooth. 5-speed. Upgraded the cup holders here. This is a must. It barely. I'll see if I can find a clip of, or if anybody knows an EG cup holder, they know they barely hold a can of soda, let alone a big old drink from like Burger King or whatever. So I painted it, installed it. This will hold a large Dunkin' Donuts cup. Very, very well needed if you're going to drink in this car. Still got pockets for coins, ashtray. Good luck finding that on a new car. I installed this because I think this is off a higher trim model. It did not come with a center console. These would come with just bare nothing, really. So you get some of that. This car does have 234,000 miles, and it doesn't run any bit like it. I am suspicious the motor may have been changed, but then again, everything looks original there. All I know is it does not burn oil. It does not smoke. It's incredible. This is literally the best Honda I've ever owned. So let's go ahead and start it up. We're in neutral. Oh, it doesn't make the... There it is, the Honda chime. Everyone knows and loves. Let's go start her up. Starts up like a beaut. Crank the AC. It still has AC, and you could feel every bit of the AC when you turn it on. It lags. It was a 90s AC system. It's hard to just say that, you know. It was surprising that it came with this car. Anyway, you have nothing. You have manual mirrors. Actually, the goofy ones that come with an EG, if anyone knows, they stick out like Shrek ears. So I did the super cool JDM spoon mirrors, the fake carbon fiber. It fits well. You lose a lot of sight, but I mean, there's really no blind spots in this car. Just take a look over. You can see anything that's coming. Other than that, we have really much nothing. You crank windows, no power lock. You have to do all that yourself. But she runs like a top. Let's go take a look under the hood. I have to unlock myself there. There she is, the D15 non-VTEC. Like I said, since owning this car for almost a year now, I've never had any issues. This thing it's like bulletproof. You can't kill these motors because they don't make enough power to hurt themselves. She's got some battle scars. There's a rust hole somewhere back on the other side of the fender, which, if you know EGs, I keep saying that so people actually know, they like to rust right around here. Right there. This was a Baltimore car. I still have the original window sticker for it. It's well taken care of. Proud of all its mileage. So in conclusion, would I recommend buying an EG sedan? Absolutely. Especially if you're an enthusiast on a budget, Honda parts on Marketplace are cheap and plentiful, and repairs can be done by someone who doesn't even have that big of an automotive knowledge. So if you can find one of these, please save it from the crusher because they are getting harder to come by. For my ratings, I give the EG Civic Sedan a 5.8 out of 10 for an everyday driver score. Other than being economical, it's almost a 30-year-old car, and there are newer, more practical cars in the market. It's really up to you, but this thing doesn't even have ABS. But for as my enthusiast score, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is still a cheap, fun Honda in every sense, that aftermarket parts are cheap and plentiful, and the skill required to mod these cars can be easily learned on YouTube or the deep catacombs of old, dead internet forums. So if you like these kind of review videos, let me know in the comment section, and like always, like and subscribe and follow for more.